it's an open discussion workshop that I have put together, because at the end of it, you need to take some advantage and benefits from it. That's the purpose. So let's begin with our workshop today. So first things first, what I want to talk about here is, see, the objective here when we are talking about resume is to get something together on a piece of paper, or in the way that it becomes an incredible journey for you, for the employer, for you, to give you the best job possible in the industry. So keeping that in mind, you must, think about why you are here and what's the objective. Now, everybody has a different journey. You come from different backgrounds. um, as Daman already said, that we know that you come from a particular course, I would really want to know a little bit more about you. Either you can put this on chat, you can unmute and talk to us. I can stop sharing if you want, if you're comfortable, or just put your email address or some details into the chat box. If you're not comfortable talking, that's perfectly okay. Good discussion, guys. I don't want all answers from everybody. Listening is again a way of learning. So perfectly okay for those who are not talking. I'm perfectly okay with that. Uh, this is what I believe, or what my thinking for a resume is. Okay. I know what you said is all correct, all of you. But for me, it has, I think it's one thing. There are two stages to it. One, like you said, your experience, what you are, what's your background in education, where you come from, skill set. That means till today, what's your journey, right? What did you do since you have graduated in your high school, from your high school, or later on, or what you're doing right now, till today, what is your journey so far? That's one part of your resume. And the second part is, you want to do something different or something better. That's why you're building up your resume, you want to build it. So it is something that you're looking for, is your dream career, dream job, journey. So you're looking for another set of your journey, that should also reflect on your resume. So if you think from that perspective, you'll think about, oh, what am I heading towards? What's my job that I'm thinking, or my career as a whole? Don't say just job, because it's just a milestone. I think each job is your milestone towards your whole career. So you have to think from a broader perspective when you're building your resume. Don't just think, oh, Canadian resume, let me take a format and copy paste. Don't do that. Won't work. It might work for you long run, guys. It doesn't work, because you should know why you're investing your time, money, energy, traveling so far, finding jobs, and then at the end of 5 years, you feel, oh, I didn't want to do this. This was something different. So the first step, I think, is your resume, because it gives you an opportunity to reflect back on what you have actually done and what you want to do. Okay. Now, why do you need it? You need it because you need a job. So simple as that. But if I don't want to sound negative or someone who is marketing something, but believe me, you yourself are marketing through your resume. So you have to tell a story that sells. When I say that sells, you don't have to bluff, guys. It's not we are going to make some sales. The idea is, you are putting everything that is true, but how you're putting it through. Let's talk about that now. Okay. Let's talk about quick facts first, because I think a few things for me in there were eye openers when I started, researching. um, so let's talk about first thing. You might be knowing about it, but on an average, I have been hiring people back in India. I have been part of interviewing team even in Canada. So, the first page of your resume, or the first half, if it is impressive, you are in at least for the resume shortlisting. If it is not, if it is lame or sloggy, guys, nobody is going to see it, no matter how good your experience and your work skills are. So the first thing is, you have to see, when you see your own resume, see if in 5 seconds it catches your eyes. If it does not, you have work to do on it. Okay. Sorry, software typically eliminates 75% of the resume, and the reason is that your keywords and phrases present in there are not matching with what an employer actually is looking at. So I'll tell you in the examples moving forward. I have put some together and we'll talk about that. So there's another area, LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is a very proficient area where you can put your profile, and it does have a lot of what do you say, strength to get you the right job. But it's really important that your LinkedIn profile is good. If your LinkedIn profile is not good and you think you have to work, don't put the link in your resume. it will go negative. So you definitely get to hear back from employers, and these numbers I'm not putting from my mind, these are from the surveys. It's an article from cultivatedculture.com, and few more researchers who have put that together in 2021 and 22. So this data is coming from the real time world, and that's how things work. But the first, on the third point, I would really recommend, if your LinkedIn you think is not up to date, your connections are not relevant, don't put that on your resume. Remove this, work on your LinkedIn profile, and then put that link in. So just putting it for the sake of it because everybody is doing it, that is not going to work. It's going to go negative instead. And then more than 50% of recruiters look for soft skills. That's again something which we have to look at. Those who you who were speaking, you are very good in skills, soft skills, communication skills. You have courage to speak. I'm not saying no to others, guys. Don't take me otherwise. The only thing is, your soft skills are not just the communication skills. There are other things. Soft skills is a blend of things, and when you put together your resume, you make sure that your soft skills are highlighted. Leadership skills, taking initiatives, being a volunteer, that reflects your soft skills, not just your, you put, I was putting that in. I was putting what proficient in English communication when I started my resume, and I thought I was doing it right. At that time, probably it was. But communication, when you're sitting in Canada or a Western country, is a basic skill, putting that up is good, but in a different way. Soft skills are leadership skills and other empathetic skills that are needed, emotional intelligence skills, and the skill sets that you should show in your resume along with your tech skills. Typos are something which give you rejection. People don't see your resume, they generally check it out if you have a typo. So please make sure you proofread, that's really important. And photographs. Some people put photographs, but on an average 88% of rejection rate is there if you have a photo on a resume. Don't put that on. That gives a bias. Actually, what happens when a recruiter looks at it, uh, it creates a professional bias, I would say, and that's why it's not recommended. Let's not do that. If you have, just remove it. Now let's get to the actual part. Four or five things that I'm going to mention straight away for everybody. If you guys have that already, right, don't worry. If you're not, please make sure you do it. First thing is your header section. Now, what is a header section? Your name, your address, your phone number, your email address. Name has to be highlighted. It's you. You are representing yourself. It has to be bold and catchy. So you have to put any text you're, font you're putting. Let's say it's Calibri, it's Times, or any Arial. That's okay. But your point has to be at least 20 for your name to stand out. Second, your address, contact number, and your email address should be in one line. If you have a LinkedIn URL that goes next, but it has to be short URL, not the longer one. So you don't go on the site and copy the URL where your profile is. Don't do that. There are short URLs for LinkedIn. You can find that on your profile. If not, drop me a message. I'll help you. And then put that in. So it has to look very clean and neat. It cannot go just shabby, one over the other or three or four lines. Don't do that. Make it crisp because you have to save your time. You have to save other things, which is very important, which is the length of resume. If you put three lines more for just one header, you are losing two lines of your actually important area. Don't do that. Just save some, space there and put it neatly. Objective has to be clear and concise. I don't know if you guys have put a objective. It has to be something like this. Now, even my resumes were like that. I used to put objective as, working as so and so for a number of years with these skill set, looking for, or two lines. That's an old state. You have to make sure that first one, what's your objective, and put that in one line only. So what you're looking for, let's look at this one. So I'm looking to be a senior director of software engineering in which domain? Healthcare. It has to be very concise and direct. It does not have to be three lines and then you don't put industry, you don't put what designation you're looking for. And guys, one more thing, when you're putting objective, make sure, see, I don't want to sound like manipulative here, but When it comes to resume for a particular employee, you have to see the job description. If you're applying for, let's say, for example, a Java developer, senior Java developer, let's say. So you have to make sure that you put your objective in a way that if it reflects to the core objective or the title of that job description, that job actually, that designation, it has to reflect in your objective. Because no matter what, if I look at my resume for 3 seconds or 4 seconds and look at the JD at same time, you will see that your JD and your objective should match, not completely, don't copy paste, but it should reflect what they are looking for and what you're looking for. That gives recruiter a way to go through the rest, because they think, oh, that's what he is looking for or she is looking for, that's what we are looking for. It gives you a mapping. Okay, that's why you need to put it in a way that it reflects crisply what an employer is looking for. That gives you shortlisting. Skills. Now, I know you all are skillful, you are still gaining your skills. Nobody is less or more, but when you don't quantify your skills, I don't see it reflects the value. So, okay, so the skills that I was putting till last year, not last year, 2 years back, was like this. So I have project management, this and that. This is not my skill set, but some examples. So 90% of resumes that I see do have skills like this at this moment. When we recruit people, we recruit the interns as well, or experienced people in our uh, company right now in the organization. So we have resumes like that, even from big consulting firms when they're asking for project manager people. But when you talk about quantifying this, it's a different way to put the same skills. The reason is, again, we need to save space for the data that recruiter is looking for. Okay, so you have to put your professional summary, something like that. When I say quantifying, quantifying means either you quantify it in the way of numbers or budget. So if you talk about the second line, manager and delivered $45 million in software solutions. Now, one, it gives you budget that you have been managing capital projects. Anything beyond $1 million is called a capital project. So you are doing it in the software solutions and operations. So you have mentioned two areas where you have managed this much of budget. That means you have that skill set. You can manage bigger projects. 243 national healthcare accounts. Now you have also mentioned number of clients, if you see in this example. So guys, it does not fit to any one of you, or maybe it can fit to. I'm going to give you a formula. Now I come from engineering, so I put everything in a formula. So I'm going to give you a formula that helps you to put that together. We'll just go through that. So this is what I'm looking at when I'm looking at the professional summary, or someone will be impressed with your professional summary. It goes exactly after your objective. So first header, then your objective, then your professional summary. That's what we are looking for here. Like we said, what major counts and has value. Okay, so less than 20% resumes on an average write it correctly. Okay, so the length has to be not more than 600 words. Now 500 is somewhere around 1 page, and 600 would be 1.5 or maximum 2 pages, not more than that. 2 pages if you have extensive experience, then 2 pages for sure. More than 70% of resume applications are out of this zone, believe me. Mine is too. But then I'm putting more of experience, so I can still justify, I think, but I still want to cut it to 2 pages. um, but ideally, guys, one first page has to be your reflection, second page is an extension. So 600 words, first 600 words will make you uh, one of the person who is shortlisted or not. That's what matters. Now let's get to the key area. This was something which I was really worried about when I came to Canada, because my resume in India was a completely different picture. And I heard that keywords here will just chuck you out from the other candidates, because if your resume is not having right keywords in the right way, then nobody will even look at it. It will not go to the HR. It will just come out of the system straight away. You apply for it and it will be chucked out. So that's very important, that how you do it. There are a lot of tools out there in the marketing. I can refer few to you guys if you don't know later on. where you can just put your resume once you're done with the changes and you know it's the perfect resume. Just put that in and get your keywords out. That's the technical way of doing it. Now, manual way of doing it is map your JD with your resume and put out some keywords. For example, let's say um, you have an experience in accounting for 4 years. But in accounting, there are different domains, there are different areas. You're talking about balance sheets, you're talking about managerial accounting, or the areas where you're looking at the leading part. You're not even doing the accounting, you're just analyzing it, passing it to the seniors. So, those parts, if they are in JD and in your keywords, they have to be reflected and not just one place. They have to reflect in multiple places in different forms. How they'll reflect, I'll talk to you about that as well, but make sure that it does not look like that you have just read JD and tried to put that in a different language, but that does not fit in with what you are going in sequence for. So your professional summary will have the keywords that is in the JD, but it has natural flow. Okay. Now this is something which is the key thing. I think that that will actually help you guys to frame professional summary or at least amend it if you want to. The formula of writing this experience statement or professional summary is you have a situation, you add that to an action that gives you result. Now, what does that mean? Now, a situation can be a problem, an area of responsibility, something, a conflict situation, or just a daily to do work. So, what I do is I deal with my clients, and deliver. Guys, if you can mute yourself, please. If anyone is unmute, please mute yourself. So you have a problem, area of responsibility, anything that you say. See, I'm going to give you a real-time example for this. Action is to handle that situation. What did you do? Which action or what action did you take? And what are the results? Results show that you put some efforts that has given some outcome. Now, your professional summary, when you talk about, I have managed $45 million project for 45 clients in healthcare. Now, it shows a situation that you have been managing, which is your daily deliverable. You did this for so and so budget. Your action was for those two domains, operations, and one more was mentioned there. You worked on that particular area as a part of action for those clients, and the result was that you managed 45 clients. Okay, so you have to ensure to quantify using numbers or dollar amounts. Now it's really important because ultimately when your salary comes out, it comes from per hour wages, or even if you're on full time, it still comes from calculation on your effort. And when it comes to management or senior management, it comes in the number, in the form of numbers. So it directly proportionates to what you are delivering to the client or customer or the organization, and what you're gaining, what is your take home, what is your salary. So if you put this together and you showcase that you are going to give them more profits, you are going to get a good job and you're going to crack that, at least shortlisted for the resume. Okay, so your results become your experience statements. For example, now let's take a situation. Information for each student needs to be organized. I have taken this particular one because we come from educational background. You're coming from CBU, so you might be able to relate to it quickly. Um, let's say we have a situation where everything is just haphazard. We want to, for a specific thing, we want to put that together into a way that it's organized and easily recoverable. Okay, you can retain it. The action is, what do? We'll just create a database or an inventory for the sake of it, and the result would be created sufficient database for efficient information retrieval. Now this is a simple result that comes out of a database. When you quantify it, what are you going to say? Let's reframe that sentence and result. We are saying created sufficient database for efficient information retrieval. Good. For number of students. What is the number of students? Let's say the university has 20,000 students. Put that number in. 2 million. Put that in. Resulting in an average 1 hour, 2 hour, half an hour, 50 minutes saved of commercial team per day, which straight away recommends that per day commercial team spends, let's say, $100 on one person, so they are saving 100 straight away in 1 hour. So that's how your results become your experience statements. And you can now look at your profile, look at yourself and see what I am doing What's my action that I'm doing on daily basis? Is it bringing me results? If it does, it has to be in one sentence. That sentence has to match with your JD that you're applying for, guys. Don't randomly go for all the jobs. I have done that. I have applied for 20 jobs at times. Just Indeed or back in India, Naukri, just in 15 minutes, 20 jobs applied, but that doesn't happen. When you're experienced or when you're looking for something specific, you have to be specific yourself first. Random applications are good only when you don't have prior experience. If you have experience, please do that. Even if you are a fresher or just a pass out from high school, there are ways to present your resume, your profile that works well. I mean, it's always good to we dress up when we go out, you know, we dress up when we are in a meeting. Why don't we dress up our resume when we are presenting? That's what is presenting us. Going on the panel and sitting nicely in front of interviewer comes later. First thing comes how your resume looks. That's your reflection. So you have to make it as good as possible. Okay, so the content has to be relevant first of all to the JD. Your job description you have to read through, and then you have to scan your resume. Is it matching or not? Please make sure you amend it. Don't let it be the same and just a little bit of tweaking. If you're not convinced first thing, don't do it. Don't pass it on. Take your time. There are generally 20 30 days or at least 15 days or a week. I know it's better to apply for a job quick as possible, but applying for it on date with the right resume is better than applying on day one with the wrong resume. Because here the thing is, 60 to 70% of recruiters who are actually putting up the dates last day of job application, they do not pick up your applications before last date is over, or at least the last date is there. So you have that much time. Don't rush. If you are ready with the resume, nothing better than that. But if not, don't bother. Just give it a time. It hardly takes 15-20 minutes if you're dedicatedly doing it. If your resume is in the good format, you just have to map JD. So do that. It's really needed for shortlisting. You have to highlight experience in a way that your professional summary reflects it in JD, as I said. Your key skills are required on the first page. If you have lesser experience, your resume has space. I would not say that don't bullet point your skills. Do that, but have professional summary first. And as I said, everybody is different. Everyone's journey is different. Don't fit one resume to all. Taking a resume format from a friend is really good. I have done that. So, but modify content with each application. That's really important. And make sure you have a cover letter. Now, there are three cases, I would say. One, where a cover letter is mandate. You have no option, but you have to put a cover letter. Second is where you have a tab for cover letter, but it's not mandate. No asterisk there, you skip it. I have been skipping it for a long time, but it's really important to have a cover letter because it's a very small crux and it has to be written properly. If it is asked, make sure you do it. If it is there, not mandate, still do it. And if you think you don't have time, you're running out of time, that's okay. But if it is mandate, please make sure you put that in or make it a habit to attach it. It's really good and it shows your professionalism when it comes to it. Now, there are different categories of resume content that you must see. I have done this yesterday to split it up because when we see a resume, we see everything is important. No doubt it is, but there are some categories. The essential part that you must have right contact information, and please the email addresses. If you have your nicknames in your email addresses or something else, underscore resume at the rate, don't do that, please. Create a new email address, I would recommend, which is professional. So your first name or first name underscore last name, some objective professional experience we have already spoken about. Education, obviously, you're going to put in there skills and languages. Now, if you have extra skills in the language, for example, if you're coming from a language that's spoken in Canada, for example, even if it's Punjabi, it has value. It does have value. Please put that in. If it is French, put that in. Spanish, anything else. Regional languages of India, I would not recommend because Punjabi, why I'm saying, because it's spoken a lot in Canada. Other languages, I'm not biased about this. You can, it's not advisable because even I don't put my regional language. I'm a Punjabi. I don't put that in. Um, I just put English because I don't know French. I know a lot of regional languages in India because I have been traveling there, but I don't put them in. So language is really important what you're putting in. If you are putting French, if you're good at French, please make sure because it's really important to put when you're applying in Canada. Certifications, only put those which are global. If you don't have any certifications, you did something from Udemy, Coursera, online. If you don't have professional certificates, you still have to gain, put them in. Don't leave that blank. Make sure you add that on. If you don't have any certifications, guys, and you're experienced, please make sure you give it a thought because when you have experience and you're looking for same experience to be excluded or included here in Canada, your certification will speak for you. So if you're coming from IT background and you are looking for something in, let's say, team leading, go for Scrum Master. If you're coming from background of HR, though CPHR or something like that comes for a background which is extensive, but anything nearby should work. If you're coming from analytics, make sure you have something in analytics to reflect. If not, do it, put that in. There are very um, vast free courses and certifications available in different sites, websites. You need help, ask me. I'm already on Udemy, I'm already on LinkedIn as a trainer. So if you need any help there, which certification to do, which is free, don't put money. I'm not advocating money, I'm advocating skills. So please put certifications in, they are really important, non-essential. Now, I'm not saying don't put them in, they are good, but if you have space. First one, awards and recognitions. If you're experienced, you have been awarded something, like let's say you have 15 years of experience, you have 10 awards, don't put them all, put last two only. The most recent have to be highlighted if you want to. Research and publications are something which you have done. So if I published a book and that's relevant to my JD, then put that in. If you have published a book or a publication or a blog, it's not relevant, don't put in. Volunteer activities. If let's say you are doing, let's say for me, if I am going for director training and development and I'm being volunteering on the same role for the last 5 years, then it makes more sense to put that in. But if I'm going for that profile and I'm volunteering for, let's say, first aid, that does not make sense. So that's how I'm trying to tell you how to differentiate them. Please do not put gender, date of birth, sexual orientation, or your family or origin. Here, it is not taken very positively and it's not needed, first of all. If you have that, we used to put that back in India. I had that on my resume, my gender, date of birth, not the family, but languages, regional languages. Don't put them in. It just consumes time and space for you, but it doesn't work. Sorry. Okay, we are left with 10 minutes. I'm going to go quick because I want to leave some space for you guys to talk. So let's revamp and see what do's and don'ts are. So first thing I have spoken about then, make sure your naming of resume file is correct. It has to look professional. Your name underscore resume, or even if it's surname and nothing called resume on the PDF, it's still okay. It's perfectly okay. Keep important sections on the first page, like we discussed. Your header is to be correct. Your first thing is objective. Next is professional summary. Then goes your skills if you want to. But after certifications, if you have some, we can do a mismatch and mixing there. We'll do that together if you need help. But make sure your JD is always in sync with what you're writing. Having a header, we talked about it, and we have spoken about showcasing your technical and non-technical skills, where we were talking about the soft skills. Now, you can use colors in your resume instead of single color, but that's not going to make any difference. That's my personal opinion. I have seen different kind of. It just looks good to the eyes, but if the content is not good, then it's of no use. So go for a colored one, but just one more color, something like a black or a dark gray, and some other color like blue or something if you want to highlight. Not needed though, but just two colors, not more than that. Do not use casual approach, guys. It looks and reflects on resume. So if you are putting something and it has typos, it is very casual. Or you're writing a sentence that's too long and not proofread, it reflects, when someone reads it, they can see that you have not given attention to it. One page resume is what is recommended, but if you are extensive on experience, make sure 2 pages. Don't go for three, please. Don't make spelling mistakes or use a wrong format. Now that's a big question here. What is a right format or what is a wrong format? I'm going to talk about that shortly. And don't miss the references. If you have ready references, put them in. If you have to look for them, if you get shortlisted, then it's okay. You can just put a liner that you'll furnish them later, but it's always good to have at least one reference out there upfront. Don't put your hobbies, extracurricular activities, don't put that in. It's not required. Now, the question is, we always try, when we get stressed, we think, oh, things are not working out. Why not to pay something to the recruiters like Dadstand, Naukri, Indeed, and get our professional resume services done? Now, there are ways to do it. There are reasons to do it, but not everybody fits into that, I would say. I've never done that in my whole journey. I think it is needed to have in just three conditions. First is if your work experience you have is unrelated to the position you're applying for. So, for example, you have been working as IT software developer, and now you're looking for teaching, or you are in banking, you want to move to IT. You're in construction and you want to go to IT. So, this is a complete drift and it's unrelated to your JD. So you got a job, you see there's a job description, um, but there's something matching, something not matching. How to put that together so that recruiter can see value in your resume and shortlist you. Besides this first point, so that's where your professional resume services come in. Now, professional resume services, when I say it's not just putting things in format, it's putting right things in right place. Don't go for paying anything for resume making, guys. You can do it yourself. I'm there. If you're stuck, we'll do it together. Don't put money in. There are a lot of cases where I have gone through, they are paying money. I don't know why. It's not needed. Don't do it. If there are any gaps in your employment, sure, you have to put them in your resume, but there is a way to put that so that it does not reflect negatively and it does not show that you're hiding something. So for example, when I came in, I was lucky enough because I was studying in here at the same time I was working in nights. So my job did not go off because I was working for a company from Hyderabad in India. So I was IT project manager at the time, and I worked nights and days both. So I was lucky. My employment gap did not count in because I was covering that in the nights. That's not practical. That's not advisable at all. It's very bad. So if there are gaps, nothing bad about it. Just know how to put that together. You need help there. Um, we can work on together, but don't pay any money to do these things. Don't panic. It's easy to do. If you want to change your career or stream or industry, it's not easy, but it's not impossible. It can be done. So, how to put that together? Any experience, guys, is valuable. Believe me. I know there are most of the people in Sydney, or not just Sydney, anywhere you talk about in Canada, when students are studying, they are working in restaurants. The reason I started this journey of Edipulse was to have skilled people actually get their jobs because I know it hurts. So if you want to change stream, you have been working part time on a restaurant or something else. I know that's not a relevant experience, but you can still portray it in a way that it helps because any experience, as I said, is uh, that counts. You have put your heart into that, your energy, that should count on your resume. Okay, and then format. Let's talk about that briefly. We have already talked about the first thing. I'm not repeating. Since we are in Canada, so as per Canadian format, your formatting and your sequence has to be correct. I'll give you the format if you want. Keywords, how to put them out. There are certain tools to do that for you on internet. We'll list that out for you as well. Skills and experience for sure on page one, not on page two. So I'm going to put this data on the chat. If you want, after this, after our Q&A session, you can reach out to me. Don't worry, I'm going to put this on chat as well. something like that, which looks really professional.